Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. I will not go as far as to say that this video is unhinged, but I will say we are getting outside the box on quite a few of the things I want to share with you today. I took a trip to the Dollar Tree, gathered up some supplies, and I just wanted to really get out of the confines of normal craft supplies. But I will tell you this video is not intended for you to feel like you have to use the stuff from the Dollar Tree. It's really meant as a source of inspiration for you to see craft supplies or craft items in otherwise non-crafty places. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into this. All right, a crafty friend told me about this like aluminum tape or something she found. I think it may have been her husband's for his tools, but she grabbed it and she die cut with it. So first up, I'm going to see if this works, if this is a good hack, and if I can recommend it. Running it through my mini die cutting machine here, and I just picked, I think, just some sentiment die. Thanks, yeah. Now, I have to tell you, because it's adhesive backed, that made it easy because I'm not using like duct tape. So that was simple. It cut very, very well. And then I just peeled off the backing and put it down onto my card, and it worked beautifully. I really love it, and I recommend that stuff. I will try to find it and link it, but if you have some laying around, grab it up because it works like a charm. So this is just a card I'm showing you here. If you want to, I'll link below if you want to find out how to make that card. You can access that class. Okay. So I saw this stuff at the Dollar Tree, and it's like duct tape. It's not as strong, but it's foiled, and I thought, let me try this out. Now, because it's sticky on the back side, I had to use some backing. On the right hand side is a piece of masking tape or masking paper, and on the left hand side is just the release paper. So I just needed something to hold on to it while I ran it through my die cutting machine. I used my 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗥𝗚𝗚 die on the one side, and then I went back through and I used a Hello die on the other. Now, it doesn't matter if you use the masking paper or not, you're still going to have a release on the back. So either side. So that was just my kind of tip or trick around having this kind of duct tape type roll that doesn't have its own backing. And it worked beautifully. So I'm just going to finish off this card super quick. I ran this through my machine with an embossing folder, taken some red ink, and I'm just swiping it over. Very, very simple. Very easy to do, highly recommend. And then I'm going to put down my hello. Now, because it's a little bit more flimsy than the first stuff I used from that sort of aluminum tape, I had to be a little bit more careful as I placed it down so it went down straight. But I still would recommend it because I have this beautiful die cut foil sentiment in the end, and think you can do this with other images too. If you have hearts or any image, you can run it through, and I think that would be super fun. All right, so that was good to go, and Dollar Tree has multiple colors there. Let's move on to my array of crafting items. I have to say, this was really funny. My husband and I went to the Dollar Tree, and he was running around this, not running, but he was going around the store trying to find things that I can use in a craft video. He's coming up with so many ideas. He came up with this placemat idea. So I said, I'm going to try it. It's going to be fun. I have this placemat, which has a slick surface. I put some ink down, and I'm going to use it as a stencil. I'm just going to place down my cardstock, and we're going to get this really fun pattern. So look at that. It's like the leaves or the veins of the leaf in my background. So I cleaned that up, and I decided, let me go back in with a few different colors and see if I can get something even cooler. So I go back in with pink, purple, and blue, and I spritz that down with water, take my watercolor cardstock, and then I pick this up, and you get such a fun background. So that was just a little outside the box, but I wanted to try it, and it was fun. Got some really cool texture on the background, like mixed media. All right, I had to redeem myself here. I ruined my last water brush from Dollar Tree because it twists the opposite way. So thank you to everyone in the comments who told me turn it the other way. Well, those were a lost cause because I broke them, but I went and got some new ones, and yes, indeed, they do work if you twist them the opposite way that feels most comfortable to you. maybe if you're me, if you're used to that twist, then it works out fine. So I go ahead and show you a little bit of watercoloring with that. All right, this other hack here is this placemat. So these are the thick placemats, and I'm going to show you something really cool in a few minutes of how we're going to use that placemat, but you can also use it for ink smushing, ink blending, whatnot. Dollar Tree also has this silicone mat that I can use to heat my surfaces over. I like to do that because my surface underneath can get warped. And so I use a silicone mat to do my heating on. That was $1.25. All right, so they do have those. Yay, I got a beautiful background. The placemat works beautifully for ink smushing. Highly recommend. And again, going to show you something really cool in a few minutes with that placemat. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing here. Whiteout. So I use the whiteout Bic pen for making snow on my surfaces, but I never thought to use the little brush one for ink splatters or stars for my galaxy. Now it dries quick, so add a little bit of water to it and you're going to get this really beautiful opaque white. And I'm going to show you a finished card I did with that as well. Here's my finished card. Love it. I think that the whiteout is a great hack and it's very inexpensive to maybe say a particular paint. Okay. All right. So next up, we're going to use this mat a little bit more for a different kind of background. So I saw these sponges in the craft area and I thought, well, let me try to do something fun with them, mix up some colors and get some like bubbles looking circles. Really fun to use. I would not recommend them for ink blending. I don't think that they would do a good job. They're really just very particular, just the way that they're shaped, but how fun. So they come in different sizes and I think you get 3 to a pack. So a large, medium, and small, and you can just make a really cute bubble background. All right, let's get into the next thing here. Now, this is a really fun sponge. I think it's from the bath area, but also the packaging it comes with, you can use that as a stencil. Put it down, spray over it, and get a really fun texture. But I'm going to take this sponge and I'm going to cut a piece off because I like the textured look of the sponge that's already created for you by virtue of its existence. So I'm going to take a pre-made background here I did a while back and just use some black spray and just get a nice, now I went a little heavy on it with this one, so I'm going to try this again and I'm going to go with a little bit of a lighter hand and get a really cool, fun splatter look. It almost looks like I stamped those on there. So think about different colors and different ways that you can use that. Just a sponge, really fun. Let's move on to these balloon sizers, I think they are. This was $1.25 for all of these circles, and I guess you're supposed to like blow up the balloon into the circle so you can get the right size. I don't know. I saw something else when I picked those up. So here's what we're going to do. I have multiple ways of using these circles, so let me show you. So the first one is I'm just going to make circles on my background with spray. So I pull out a couple different colors of spray, and obviously you could see like I'm marking off or masking off the rest so that I don't get spray everywhere, but I'm going to just get different circles. Now this isn't a completed background. This is just me experimenting with them because I wanted to show you just how fun this was. And that, look at that. So I get perfect circles in sort of like a masking stencil, but this one, I spritzed the spray on the circle and then laid it down. So now my circle is the white cardstock in the center. And so when I pull that up, you can see a really fun masking or stencil. I don't know which is which when it comes to this, but we have that open area in the center. How fun. Now I'm going to use the outside of the circle to make a rainbow. So I'm going to take my sprays and I'm going to keep moving down my circle, and I'm going to keep spraying as I go down. So it's mixing into each other a little bit, but I don't care. This is just abstract art and paint and having fun. But how fun is that you can kind of get a remnant of a rainbow there. Now the final one here, the way I'm using it, is probably my favorite because I get like a nice crisp look with them. So I'm moving over to some Bristol Smooth cardstock and I'm using Distress Oxide inks. And what's fun about Distress Oxide inks, if you're not familiar, is that they layer on top of one another. So it really doesn't matter what they blend well together too, but they also layer. So they'll lay a little bit better if I dried it and then went to the next one, but it doesn't really matter here. As you can see, I'm getting really opaque circles as I'm moving down. So they're not necessarily blending with each other when they cross over a little bit. Like you can see the purple to the blue, you can still see the line, but the rest of them you cannot. So they layer beautifully. And I just got this really fun background of circles. So already kind of made for me. I don't know where you can get a mask or a stencil like that for $1.25. So that was great for me. And I kept the smallest 3 and then recycled the rest. And here are my little backgrounds making with the balloon sizers. Question mark. So that was a lot of fun to just get outside the box and be creative. All right, moving on. I'm going to show you this is a 3-pack, the yellow thing I'm holding. This is for like spackling on your walls, but I thought, well, that could be used for my embossing paste as well, right? And because it has a nice little give to it and it'll be really easy to put down on a stencil. But they do come 3 to a pack, a small, medium, large. This is the medium. And I am definitely going to be using all 3 for different purposes in my craft room. So here is the final look of that. It lays down really, really well. And again, I'll show you the 3 in just a minute. Now, I've been often asked about the stamps at the Dollar Tree, if they're any good. Here's what I know. I'm going to give you the best tips to get the best impression. Okay. They are not photopolymer, which are nice, thick, clear stamps. They are either silicone or acrylic, which are a little bit more flimsy. And so they don't stamp as well. But I have 2 recommendations that could help. 1 is a stamp positioner and 2 is pigment ink. Now, I'm first stamping it with some Memento Tuxedo black ink, which is not pigment, okay? And it's not stamping as well. Now I'm going back in with my VersaFine Clair Nocturne, which is a black pigment ink. And after pressing it down quite a few times, I had a little trouble with the sunflower. I get a beautiful result. And this would be great stamps for like a mixed media project. And so I liked them. I thought they were really good for the price point. You can get creative with what they have there. I'm going to use the other set as well, just to show you. Again, a Stampin' Positioner and some pigment ink, and you're going to get a much better impression than if you were to just use an acrylic block and say some dye-based ink. I think they kind of beat up on the acrylic or silicone and it doesn't look as good. Okay, now this is a flop. So here we go. We have a flop from the Dollar Tree. These are supposed to be some oil-based like crayons type of sticks. And so I'm going to show you why they did not do what I expected them to do. I'm going down onto some cardstock here, and I do have a mask masking that off just in the center. And you're supposed to be able to mix these colors really well. Now, I'm going to show you with the other brand that I have that does work, but these did not move at all. They almost just were like crayons. And so I was really, I wouldn't say disappointed. I really didn't expect them to work, if I'm honest. But look at this brand here. And this one I showcased in another video. They're only like $5.99 for this whole set. Now, I'm going to do the same thing going in rainbow order, just all the way down the cardstock, and then I'm going to show you how they blend. I find that if you've ever watched these videos, if you've gotten caught up like me on YouTube, I've seen them do art videos with these oil-based markers, crayons, whatever they are. They use paper towels and they always get like such a beautiful blend. Well, I really don't. So that was my paper towel attempt. But I was like, the last video I did, I used my finger. And so I'm going to go back and do it again and watch how my finger actually, well, I try the paper towel there. Watch how my finger blends them. And you want to put down a little bit more pigment as well. But my finger seems to like really give a nice soft blend together. And it doesn't really like make my finger dirty or stain it or anything like that. So there's the result there. And then I wanted to show you in the last video where I showcased those oil crayons, this card right here. Now I would set them with like a fixative or maybe even some hairspray, but that was a lot of fun. Dollar Tree ones, do not recommend those. All right. I wanted to take some more of this peel and stick wallpaper from Dollar Tree. Look at all these beautiful backgrounds that they have. Oh, so pretty. And I wanted to have a little handy dandy notebook I can carry around with me and a larger one. I made one for Adia. And so I decided to take some of that background or that peel and stick and cover my journal with it. So I'm eyeballing the size because we're going to cut away some of it anyway. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I have this size here, and I peel off the back from my journal because you don't want that kind of to be bumpy underneath the peel and stick. And then I'm just going to measure this out. So first I peel off the bottom portion of it so that I can have a little bit of the bottom of the journal stick. And then I'm going to mark it with a ruler. So I'm going to mark the part that's already peeled away, so the sticky part on the bottom. And this is just going to give me an eyeball way to say where to place down my journal. So I can get it measured as best as I can. But again, doesn't have to be perfect. So I peel it all off, and now I'm going to lay down my journal right in the center. I did have to get my head in the way, so I cut that piece out. And then once I lay that down, I'm going to push it to one side. Then I'm going to pull this over, and here's my 3-pack coming up of the spatula type tools that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use the medium one again and do it on both sides. And that's just kind of sealing it in. And this peel and stick stuff is really sticky, and you can use it for so many surfaces. All right, so now I'm going to go in on each side, and we're going to snip off the triangles that are showing. Okay, this is going to allow us to fold in our peel and stick seamlessly. So I do both sides, then I'm going to go right at the seam there at the center binding, and I'm going to snip away almost like at a triangle. So it's not going flat straight up, but there is a little bit piece, like a little piece that I'm removing, and it's going to go into the front flap or back flap much easier instead of fighting with that corner. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to do it again here and again on the other side. What that's going to leave me with is these 2 pieces sticking out of the binding of my journal. Okay, once I see those 2 pieces sticking out, all I'm going to do is take some paper snips, and I'm just going to snip those away, and we are going to call that outside of this journal done. Now the next part is optional. You don't have to do it. No one's really going to be looking inside your journal, so it's up to you. But what I decided to do was cut up 2 more pieces, and I'm going to round the corners of them because I'm going to be placing them on the inside to cover up my folded areas here. So I just take each of those internal pieces, and I'm going to round the corners and just lay them straight into the side. So I have it pretty cut to size. Once I get one piece down, then I'm going to take my spatula and just push that in. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I thought it gave it a nice finished look. Another idea is you can make sort of like a pocket. If you have a pocket die, you can make an envelope out of if you have an envelope die, and you can kind of adhere that to it as well. And then you can keep whatever you want in there for your little notebook. So that's my mini journal here. I can just take notes, handy dandy. It's small enough. I can walk around with it, keep it in my purse, things like that. Okay, so I've done it with my small journal, and I'm going to skip all the steps here, but I am going to show you I wanted to do one of these composition notebooks as well. And so I'm going to just skip right to the end here and show you that I did the exact same process, and I got this beautiful notebook for Idiot to use for school. All finished. So that was a lot of fun. Highly recommend the peel and stick. It's so beautiful. There's so many different backgrounds. Okay, now we're going to move into a really fun thing to do with their folders. Now they come 2 to a pack, which is great. So that's $125 for 2. And you can use them for school. They're really durable. They're not paper. They have like this plastic coating. So highly recommend those for your school supplies. But I'm going to take them and make something else with a couple of them. I use the rest for school supplies next year, but I'm going to take these 2, and I'm going to cut them down to size. Now I'm going to put the sizes on the screen for you so you know. You're going to make a top and a bottom. What we're making here is a box to house our cards. So think about this if you want to package up some cards that you made as a gift. This gives you a nice sturdy packaging. You absolutely can use cardstock for this. Same exact techniques, use the same sizes, all of that. But you would likely have to then decorate your cardstock unless you want to give like a plain cardstock box. This is already decorated. We have a pink bottom and we have a really fun pattern top. So I am going to cut them down to size, and then I'm going to score at 1 inch all the way around both. The top is like 1 millimeter larger on both sides, because that'll just give us an opportunity to go over the bottom, so it's not super, super snug. So I'm again 1 inch scoring, and now you can see me snipping. I'm going to snip in the same place on all 4 sides. Okay, and then you can just reinforce all your score lines, and you're going to fold them all in. I use a bone folder here just to get it nice and reinforced. Once everything is reinforced, I'm just going to use some glue. Now you can try double-sided adhesive. I did not have luck with that. Glue was the best, although you do have to take a moment to hold it. When I say a moment, it's like around 30 seconds of just holding it. That is really going to benefit you if you just take that extra step, because this Barely Art glue is super strong and it holds beautifully. I just didn't find that same result with double-sided adhesive. So once I get that done, I'm just going to fill it up with envelopes and with cards. These are shaker cards, so this fits a lot. We're talking about a 1 inch depth here. So I'm getting a lot of cards in there, and I have a cute little box for them. So I love that one. And this one's even better because I'm using a placemat. Do you remember the placemat I showed you that I was ink smushing on in the beginning? We're going to do the exact same thing with a placemat. So I'm going to get this down to size. Now I've skipped all through the areas I told you, but on this one, here's what we're going to do. We are going to use double-sided adhesive just as a placeholder. Okay, so I'm going to put that double-sided adhesive down because this is a very thick material, these placemats. And so you want to make sure that we're going to reinforce so they don't come apart. I get those all pushed together with my double-sided adhesive, again, just to hold it for me. And then I'm going to take my stapler and I'm going to staple each side, and it does not look bad at all. I thought, oh, is this going to look like weird or cheap? No, you can't even see the staples. So I go around all 4 sides on the top and all 4 sides on the bottom. And what comes out is a beautiful packaging for our cards. You don't even have to wrap this. So I'm going to put my cards in there. Oh, I'm just going through. Do you ever do that with your cards? You then realize, oh, I made this, and then just have another look-see. So here's my super fun fold. I'll link that class below too if you want to check that out. That's a really fun card. And I made 2 of them there. Okay, so I'm going through putting in my cards, and I'm going to package this up. Look at how pretty that packaging is, just from a placemat. And there we have it. Okay, so the only thing I'm going to add to this, I am going to put a little bit of ribbon around it just to kind of finish off the look, and they're all packaged and ready to go. I was so excited to show you those, and this is one of those things where you don't have to have a Dollar Tree near you. You look around your house. Is there old stuff that you're going to throw away that maybe you can turn into, if you cut up and score the right direction, that you can make into some of these things? So I hope that was helpful. Let's move on to a little bit of organization. Reminder, use your heat tool to remove some of these stickers. I picked this up, of course, at the Dollar Tree, and I am going to put a piece of magnetic sheet inside the bottom of this, because when I'm working and I'm using a lot of different dies, I lose them. I am sure that I'm not alone on that one, but I do. I lose them. So you may have seen me do this as a hack before, just keeping that piece of magnetic sheet off to the side, which is just good enough. But I wanted to have a little bit of a container area because sometimes I have more than just a few dies. So I made this little containment here, and now I can just have it off. I have lots of room on my desk here, so I just have it off to the side, and I can throw my dies in there and they won't get lost. So as I'm using them. So that's one way. Another way, if you wanted to make it a little bit more fancy, is you can take a Dollar Tree or an old picture frame that you have, and you can repurpose it. So I'm going to cover this magnetic piece that I have with the peel and stick from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to then add that to the front, taking out the glass, by the way, of the picture frame, because that would just be too much and it wouldn't be able to stick for magnetic reasons. So I'm going to then fold over. See how I did the triangles, cutting off the triangles? That'll allow each of the areas to fold over nicely. I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive on the back of this sheet here. I wanted to keep the white matting, by the way. So I kept that, just added some glue there. But again, get rid of the glass. You don't need that. And then I'm going to use double-sided adhesive for that, put my picture frame back together. And now we have a decorated front that I can just add my dies to if you wanted to do that. Maybe it stands up out of the way a little bit more for you. So that's another option for you. So this next one, not earth-shattering, but I thought I would share it. I picked this up. It's meant for like makeup brushes for your bathroom area, but I'm going to add it to my glass mat. Side note, this is the reason I don't film with my glass mat anymore. Look at all that reflection. But I thought if you're working and you want to keep your blending brushes off your surface and out of your art projects, you can put them into this little holder here and it'll keep them tucked away nicely. So again, not earth-shattering, but thought I would share it in case that was a problem that you were facing. Now, this last thing I want to show you is these little pill containers here. Open and close individually, which is great, and it made me think of the ones they make for embellishments. Let's say you're just starting out with your embellishment stash and you just need a couple of these. They're really inexpensive, and you can open them and pour them into your shaker cards or what have you, and you can do that with no mess because they open individually. So that was the last little organization type thing I did want to show you for this video. As always, I hope they were helpful, and remember, I am not recommending or suggesting you get or do these exact things. What I'm hoping it does is it inspires you to look at products and alternative supplies in a new way so that you can save money and still get the experience of creativity and just enjoy the process. So I'm hoping that this video did that for you. And if you are looking for ways to be more creative, get your crafty mojo back, or just enjoy the process, I do want to remind you that I hosted Creative Calm, which was 10 30-minute sessions that we did to do just that. We just played, there was no pressure, nothing had to be perfect, and we really didn't even have the intention of completing a project. It was just a good time to get together and craft, and also share some of my education, experience, and expertise in the way of mental health, resilience. So I did share in each episode 1 or 2 nuggets in the way of working through some of the challenges we have, feeling guilty for spending time on ourselves, and why it's so important to do your hobby or to make time for your own care. And so that was a lot of fun, and the feedback has been overwhelming. So thank you for that. But you can access that all at your own leisure now for free if you'd like to. You can just click the link below and you will see the registration. Again, it's free, and I hope you can take advantage of that and practice giving yourself some time back to you. All right, thanks for joining. I will see you all in the comments down below or in the next video. Bye-bye.